Okay guys, wanted to show you that I finally got my tachometer out of there just by prying across and keep going around and around and around and around until it finally opens up its jaw and spits out. You can see the broken glass that I got here. It was already broken. I was able to get the tachometer out. The pin on the very top here I got off. Used two forks and kind of pried underneath of it, and just a little bit of pressure and it just pops right up. So I was able to get that. I sprayed all the screws on here down with penetrating oil just to try to loosen them up, and I've not been able to get those faceplate screws out. I'm afraid I might have even stripped one of them, so we'll keep trying here, but I may have to drill those out. You can see here that there's just a little bit of warpage on this faceplate. You can get reproduction faceplates. It's like 20 bucks for a set. So that doesn't worry me too much there. So this is the tachometer on the inside. There are little screws, and I've already taken them out here along the sides and the back. And the way this comes apart is basically, there we go. There's little notches here on the side, and this top part comes off. And that's mainly just a magnet. It's supposed to rotate very freely, and you can see it's really gunked up. So we'll have to take a look and see that we can get that freed. Then this piece comes off. Again, just a screw that holds it in there. And all that does is hold your center so that this can rotate freely. And then that will lift out of the center, and you can see the little clock spring that's in there. So that's my next thing, is I got to look at that clock spring. I think the spring had already broken off because there is no tension when I would turn this around. But that's where we're at with the tachometer right now. I'm not seeing horrific rust, but we're going to have to make sure that we can free that up and just flush that out. I'll probably soak these in Rust-Oleum. There's a little bit of rust down here on that stop, that little pin that goes up there, that's a metal. And there's a little stop somewhere on there. There it is. So that when that comes around, that stops it. So that's 10, and when you go around the other way, it's 0. And then that spring, I believe, is supposed to be attached to the shaft somehow, so that when you get up to like 4,000, 5,000 RPM, and then you slow down, it's the spring that actually pulls that back. So I'm going to have to look at that and see what I can do there. But that's where we're at, and I'll continue to plug away on this and see if I'll be able to salvage it or not. Okay guys, I just took apart the speedometer here. And it actually doesn't look in too bad shape. Up here in this upper left-hand corner, see there's a really rusty gear there, and that's what goes back to that black knob, which is conveniently stuck on there. So I'll continue to work on getting that out so that I can take the whole mechanism out and disassemble it like I did the tachometer. And then put this all in the evapor-rust and start cleaning it up, see if I have any busted gears or anything like that in here. You can see the red numbers. It looks like there's some fading there. The other ones just look dirty, so hopefully they'll clean up with just a little bit of alcohol and a Q-tip. So we'll see, but we're making progress, which is awesome. Okay guys, I just took my stuff out of the wintergreen and the evapor-rust. I wish you could smell it here. It smells like a Wrigley gum commercial. There's that much peppermint and wintergreen. I'm pretty happy with these, actually. I used gloves when I took them out of here because I didn't want all that wintergreen into my skin. There's a little bit of swelling, I think, on these big ones. These are what go around. They're the dampers, the rubber dampers that go in the consoles, go in there, the gauges. And then the whole unit goes into the console. But other than that, I don't see any real swelling. Everything is really flexible, and obviously it smells nice. So I would say that's a huge success. Wintergreen oil, I used, that's a 24-ounce spaghetti jar there. So I used 6 ounces of wintergreen oil, and then the rest was rubbing alcohol, you know, just that you get at the pharmacy. And then over here, this is the tachometer all taken apart. It looks great. Let's see if we can focus in a little bit. There we go. Hardly any rust. That actually turns. I can't do it with one hand, but that actually turns now. Here is the, you can see, maybe you can see. Oh, focus. There we go. The clock spring in there. A little bit of, you know, discoloration, but all in all, if you could have seen this when I put it in there, I mean, it was dark brown on the bottom. And this is all very solid. I'm still going to have to figure out how to fix this clock spring. That's the return spring. And from what I can tell, that's the only thing wrong with this tachometer. And it actually, here's the cup that it goes to. That clock spring, if you see that little brass nut right there, is supposed to be welded onto there so that when this turns, then it returns via that spring. So I think I can repair that. I honestly do. But yeah, cleaned up all the rust out of there. You can still see a little bit of it's corroding and drying here. Here's the needle. And that needle cleaned up really nice. So a little bit of sandpaper, and then I can paint that needle and put it back on. No problem. This is the outside crimp ring. You can see a little bit of the red from the cloth I dried off on. But yeah, all the rust is gone from that. Bright and shiny, no problem. So I really like this Evapo-Rust. These are little tubes inside. You can still see a little bit of corrosion, but if I hit them with a buffer wheel, that'll all disappear. So that goes down in the cup of the tachometer, and there's a light in there, and the light shines up. I think this is the neutral light indicator. Some of these other ones, I mean, you can't really tell there was any rust on there, to be honest with you. So yeah, really pleased with this. And again, about 24 hours in that Evapo-Rust. This is the stuff over here. There we go. So I did get the speedometer. I think I showed you earlier. I got it apart. I'm still working on getting the back plastic knob off. So once I get that off, then I can get the parts out, and I'll do basically the same thing. I'll tear it down, put it in the Evapo-Rust, and I think I have a couple plastic parts to go back in there. And I have a few over here on the bike too that I want to drop into there. So This wintergreen oil, you can save it and reuse it over and over and over again until it becomes, not effective. You can kind of see it's gone from a white, kind of like a very light tea colored, but it soaked into that rubber and did a really good job. There are a couple breaks in the rubber. Let's see here, like this one. When I was taking it off, it broke. But I think I can take rubber cement and do both sides and then clamp it, just tape it together. And it should hold. And I think it'll do fine. Here's one that's got a little bit of a rip on it. This is the damper. Again, you'll never see this part. But this is a damper, so it's very important so that the tachometer and speedometer don't jiggle around inside the console. So I'll put some rubber cement, go to Walmart, get rubber cement, and just do a couple simple repairs like that. Most of the parts here are great. I mean, I never could have done that when I first took it out. I think you can see a little nick in there, probably from the screwdriver. But yeah, you never could have squeezed them like that before. They would have cracked and popped apart. And now it's, no worries at all. So really like that. This is the headlight. I think this is the headlight gasket. So yeah, very flexible. It definitely works. I'm not sure why. This is what goes over the, you never could have done that and squeezed it up like that. And look, springs right back. So just like brand new, really cool. I think they call it, I keep calling it wintergreen oil, but I think it's oil of wintergreen is what I got. And I actually I ordered it online through eBay. It came from a veterinarian supply company. I think it was $16 for 16 ounces. And it's pretty potent. I mean, I'm ready to go inside. It smells, that much like a gum factory in here. But that's where we're going. We're making some headway on the gauges. I'll get the speedometer tore down hopefully tomorrow to get it in there and get it soaking so that by Saturday I've got all the parts clean like this for the speedometer. And if we're lucky, I'll just need to order new face plates and then rebuild these, oil them, and we're done. So I'm really impressed that I was able to take those really cruddy speedometer and tachometers. I mean, they were so rusted, it looked like they'd been in the bottom of a lake for 3 years, and restore them. So, testament to that. I did polish over there. You can see the mufflers standing up there. Polish them down some more. The tanks in the background. Still need to look at that. Need to look at the oil tank. I haven't started pulling any dents on that. So hopefully Saturday. Today's Thursday night, I think. Yeah, Thursday night. Hopefully Saturday I'll be able to work a little bit on that. Really haven't done much to the physical bike itself. It's just all working on those front gauges. I did order a new headlight. I think I sold last time I threw the old one away. It was too rusted, had a rusted out hole. It's supposed to be here Monday. It was like 25 bucks. And you just kind of have to watch eBay until you get a good deal. And that included shipping. So I was pretty pleased with that. Yeah, probably a couple weeks and we'll be ready to, we'll have all the gauges working. We'll have, the tank up there, test things out. So that's where we're at tonight. Okay guys, gonna start in the office this time. Here's the tachometer. She's all cleaned up. Got most of the rust off with that evapor rust. The center part turns. It's still a little tough, so I'll probably spray some lube down in there before I start putting it back together. Here's the center pin, which I still need to solder that return spring on, but that's really the only problem here with this one. So I've gotten a lot of headway with that. Still need to order face plates, and you can kind of see here we got a little bit of a warp in there, so I'll probably build a new backing, or I might try to heat that up with heat gun. I haven't thought about that. Let's see, what else do we have going on? Took the speedometer all apart. She is over here. She just got out of the cleaner, and it looks in really, really good shape, and you can see the return spring on that one. I've got a couple screws or gears down here that are stuck. They're the only ones that don't move right now. So I still need to work on that. And then while I was tearing this apart, I don't know if it's this one or not. Yeah. Let's see if we can focus in. You can kind of see there's a couple teeth missing out of this gear. Now this gear does come off of this shaft. There's a little itty bitty pin, and I'll never focus on it, that pulls out of there, and then that gear comes off. So I'm going to take some measurements, and then I'm going to contact some speedometer repair shops and see if anybody has one and if they'll sell me the gear. The other thing I thought about was I could make a mold of that and then cast it in some sort of high density resin. Possibility. Don't know how it would hold up, but I have some options, so I'm still thinking about that. But that's all cleaned up. Might take this and go try to find some very similar paint, although that paint's just for the glow. Nobody sees it. It did a really good job of cleaning it up. I still want to take a little bit of a wire wheel in here. There's some pitting that's starting right here. Wire wheeled the outside of these and got them all cleaned up. Brakes are brakes. I don't think I have anything new on that, but rebuilt the petcock. So put it in a evapor rust. I got, just rebuild kit, put new gaskets on it. So she's ready to go on the tank when we're ready to that step. So that's good news. So now, back out to the garage. You might remember down here, this is my oil tank, and I stripped it a week or so ago. Let me get some of that glare off. And you can see I've been dent pulling. That's what all these little yellow and red leftover glue is. And I bet I spent 3 hours yesterday just pulling this dent. But it does look considerably better. It's actually at a point where I could Bondo it if I wanted to and make it look nice. So that's where we're at with that. Looks coming along. If I wanted to restore it and I wanted to spend another 4 hours banging on it, I probably could get it all the way out, or darn near close. Let's see. The wintergreen experiment here, that was what I had to put the wintergreen oil in, and I put my rubber parts in there. Worked really well. They are nice and spongy. And I think there was a little bit of a swelling, and I've read where it swells. So that one's still a little tight. I might put it back in there, but yeah, interesting experiment. So I need to get some glue and glue a couple of the cracks and things like that that are in there. But I think I can restore 900% of that. So the big thing I was going to try to do today, I made some just test bottles. Actually, they're over here. Out of a Coke and Pepsi bottle, a couple vacuum lines, drilled some holes, put some hot glue on here to hold it, filled it with gasoline. Did the same with the two-stroke oil. And hooked them up here and hooked them up, and I was going to try to get this thing to kick over. And I spent most of the day troubleshooting that. Basically, I've stopped getting spark again on my right cylinder. Yeah, right-hand cylinder. Left-hand cylinder's fine. I checked out my points down here. And the left-hand one actually looks a little worn, but the right-hand one looks great. I cleaned out all the points, sprayed them out. So I think I'm going to order some new points. I got my manual out. I started to do the regulator and rectifier ohm tests, and the ohms were all over the place. Nowhere near, you guys can't see from the sun, the service manual specs. So I suspect my regulator rectifier over here is shot. I'm going to do a little bit more research on that. And see what I can do to replace it, how much it's going to cost, etc. But that'll be no fun if that's what it is. But it still doesn't explain why, even with that, the left-hand cylinder gets spark and the right-hand doesn't. I swapped my coil wires. I thought, oh, maybe I got a bad coil wire. Swapped them, no difference. Made sure the spark plug worked. So I've ruled out all the logical stuff. Went through, checked all my connections down here, made sure I didn't have any grounds or anything. I put the battery on the charger. It was at like 12.8 volts. So, I mean, that should be fine. But I said, you know, what the heck, let's just rule that out. So I'm going to have to think about this for a while, see what else I can to test to figure out. If all goes... I've got an extra set of coils over here. Don't know if they work, but they were what was strapped on the front of this bike. And maybe that's what the previous owner was trying to get around. But I know it works, or worked at one time, so we'll see. In the interim, got the back tire off. Pretty easy thing to do, other than I had to go get a big old wrench for the 29 mil rear. And the drum shoes do not look bad at all. I think they are worn a little bit. And they are definitely the originals. You can see the Yamaha logo in there. So that's kind of cool. So I'll probably order another set of drum brakes. Better safe than sorry. Got a couple parts off of there that I'll need to put into the Evapor rust. Took off the rear fender, or chain guard rather. Let's take it here so I can finish polishing it up where I was trying to polish around the bars. So what's the other thing I did? Oh, I hooked up this old headlight that I got in that cruddy deal, and surprisingly it works. And it is a Kyoto, which is the original headlights that were on these bikes. It was like 35 watt low and 55 watt high. So I think that is about it. Oh, the tank. So I think I showed you guys when the over here, when I did the stripper, you know, we had a whole bunch of spots on this that were bonded, and it looked like it was starting to peel up. So I actually went through most of it, cut right out with a utility knife, and then I fired up my little Dremel grinder and just got the little itty bitty bits out. I didn't see any rust where they were trying to cover up a rust leak or anything like that. And that's kind of what I was really afraid of, that somebody would just Bondo a rust leak. Down here is where the, on the bottom, let's see if I can get a better focus here. And it's just, you know, just wavy, dented, no holes or anything. And I think they really did just get lazy and didn't want to smooth their Bondo out because it wasn't going to show in their cheap black spray paint paint job. But since I'm going to have a really nice original paint job with original stickers and all of that, I went ahead and got all of this out of here. And now I'm about ready. I just used my stone on the Dremel, and I'll grab some 100 grit paper and start sanding that out smooth. I got some Bondo, so I'll probably just re-Bondo it. I don't think there's any way I can pull those old dents out of there. But at least I'll know it's Bondoed correctly. Like I said, the Bondo pulled out of there really easy, so I kind of have a feeling either they didn't mix the hardener right. It was really rubbery. Usually Bondo, when it dries, it gets, you know, rock solid. So I don't know if it was the stripper that interacted with that or that just wasn't a good Bondo job. So I'm going to do it right and make sure she holds up for another 45 years with the original paint and everything. So that's where we are. Everything is in pieces. My wife loves our new garage. I'm already complaining that we don't have enough space in our garage. This is, I think, day 5. Yeah, and I probably put in, you know, maybe a full day of work over the last week, just an hour or so in the evenings, or, you know, I did the petcock rebuild while I was watching TV last night. Really, Saturday and Sunday is the only time I really get to work on the bike. And I spent, you know, like I said, I spent 4 hours just trying to pull that dent out. You know, most people probably would have given it an hour and then just Bondoed it or bought a new one. I spent probably 3 or 4 hours today just trying to troubleshoot the electrics here again, and that's the most disappointing thing, because I was gonna fire it up and start to tune those carbs out. So we'll see how it goes. Until next time, YouTubers, thanks for watching.